The Vijayanagara Empire. The invasion of the Deccan by Malik Kafur, the military general of Alauddin Khilji, had shaken foundations of the Hindu kingdoms of the Deccan. The subsequent tyranny of Muhammad bin Tughlaq increased further a sense of insecurity. Hinduism appeared to be in danger of extinction. Harihar and Bukka, the sons of one Sangama, successfully resisted this onslaught against Hinduism. They probably fled from Warangal, which was besieged by the Muslims in 1323. According to Nanes, a contemporary Portuguese traveller and merchant, Harihar had been appointed as the chief of Angundi, a strong fort on the northern bank of the Tungabhadra by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Finding his position insecure, Harihar, together with his brother Bukka, crossed the river and founded in 1336 a new city which was named Vijayanagar. The site selected for the new capital was an excellent one. The task of founding this new kingdom, the two brothers were assisted by their preceptor Madhva alias Vidyaranya Swami. The history of Vijayanagar covers a period of nearly 230 years. 4 dynasties ruled over this kingdom in succession. The first of these was the Sangama dynasty, which lasted from 1336 till about the close of 1485. The chief rulers of this dynasty were Harihar and Bukka, the founders, Harihar II, Bukka II, Devaraya I, Veera Vijaya, Devaraya II, Mallikarjun and Virupaksha. The second dynasty was the Saluva, which lasted from 1485 to 1505. There were only 2 kings of this dynasty, viz. Narsimha Saluva and Immadi Narsimha. The third dynasty was the Tuluva dynasty, which lasted from 1505 to 1570. It was founded by one Narsanayak, who ruled from 1490 to 1503 as regent. He was succeeded by Veera Narsimha, 1503 to 1509, who usurped the throne in 1505 and was succeeded by the great Krishna Devaraya, who ruled from 1509 to 1530. He restored order throughout the empire and improved the finances of the state. His conquests include the capture of the fortresses of Shivsamudram and Srirangapattanam, reduction of Udayagiri and Kondavidu. He laid siege to Kondapalli and captured it. All these conquests were about the year 1513. His greatest achievement, however, was the recovery in 1520 from the Bahmani kings of the much disputed fortresses of Raichur and Mudkal situated in the Diob between the Krishna and the Tungabhadra rivers. Krishna Devaraya was a great patron of Sanskrit, Kannada and Telugu literature. He built and endowed several temples. The statue of Krishna Devaraya, with his 2 queens on either side rendering homage to the Lord Venkateshwar at Tirupati, is placed at the entrance of the Tirupati shrine. Amukta Malyada, a kavya of great literary merit, is attributed to him. It is valuable for our knowledge of medieval Andhra history and culture. Krishna Devaraya followed a policy of universal tolerance. He encouraged Portuguese and Arab traders in horses. Krishna Devaraya was succeeded by his brother Achyut Raya, who ruled from 1530 to 1542. The king was of a violent temper and alienated his best friends. He was succeeded in 1542 by his nephew Sadashiva Raya. Sadashiva Raya was king only in name. The real power in the state was wielded by his minister Rama Raya along with his brothers Tirumal Raya and Venkatadri. Rama Raya actively interfered in the confused politics of the Deccan Sultanates. In 1543 Rama Raya made an alliance with Ahmednagar and Golconda in order to effect a combined attack on Bijapur, which was, however, saved from destruction by the abilities of the minister Asad Khan. 15 years later, 1558, Bijapur and Vijayanagar combined to attack Ahmednagar. The territory of that state was so cruelly ravaged by the Hindu army, and Rama Raya treated his Muslim allies with such open contempt that the sultans were convinced of the necessity for dropping their private quarrels and combining against Rama Raya. The result was the Battle of Talikota. It was fought on 23 January 1565. Enormous forces were employed on both sides. After an initial setback, the Muslim forces attacked the Hindu forces with their guns, which were loaded with copper coins. This had a deadly effect. All of a sudden, an elephant belonging to Nizam Shah of Ahmednagar, mad with the excitement of the battle, suddenly rushed forward exactly towards the spot where the aged warrior Rama Raya was viewing the scene from a litter. Before he could effect his escape, he was taken prisoner. Taken to the camp of Nizam Shah, he was forthwith decapitated. Seeing that their chief was dead, the Vijayanagar forces broke up and fled. They were hotly pursued until the Muslim forces entered the city of Vijayanagar. The city was plundered and almost razed to the ground during a span of nearly 5 months by the invading forces. The Aratndu dynasty and the fall of the Vijayanagar kingdom. The victorious sultanates did not ultimately gain much as a result of the Battle of Talikota. Their alliance was soon dissolved and there was recrudescence of mutual jealousy. This afforded the Vijayanagara Empire the opportunity for recuperation under Rama Raya's brother, Thirumal. He returned to Vijayanagar after the Muslims had left it, but after a short stay there, went to Penugonda, Anantapur district, and restored the prestige and power of the empire to such an extent as to be able to interfere in the affairs of the Muslim kingdoms. In about 1570, Thirumal dispensed with the nominal ruler Sadashiva Raya and usurped the throne for the Arvidu dynasty to which he belonged. His sons Ranga I and Venkat II maintained the kingdom intact. The latter had his headquarters at Chandragiri, Chittoor district. In 1612, Raja Vodeyar founded with his permission the Kingdom of Mysore, on the extinction of the viceroyalty of Srirangapattanam under the old Vijayanagar Empire. The death of Venkat II in 1614 was the signal for the dismemberment of the empire. It was followed by a war of succession and the consequent rise of disintegrating forces. These could not be checked by Ranga III, the last important ruler of Vijayanagar, in spite of his best attempts, owing to the selfish attitude of the rebel vassals of the empire and the ambition of the Muslim states of Bijapur and Golconda. Pride, selfishness, disloyalty and mutual dissensions largely facilitated the conquest of the Hindu Deccan by the Muslim states of Bijapur and Golconda. Further, subordinate viceroys, like the chiefs of Srirangapattanam and Bednur, Keladi Ikkeri, and the Nayaks of Madura and Tanjore, carved out independent kingdoms for themselves. The pattern of administration in Vijayanagar Empire, the big empire, was divided into provinces not unlike the Sarkars of Mughal days. These provinces were in charge of governors, who were de facto sovereigns in their respective areas. They paid a fixed revenue to the state and undertook to furnish troops when called upon to do so. Justice was administered according to local custom, and no hardship seemed to have been felt by the inhabitants. The village panchayats looked after the interests of the villages. Land was the chief source of the royal revenue. Rent was payable in cash rather than in kind. The criminal code was not severe, but the method of punishment was cruel and almost barbarous. The Vijayanagar kings maintained an army on a large scale, but as an organized force it does not seem to have been efficient.